forefathers, they didn't receive compensation for their labor, and they pretty much built up America. But the so-called Japanese, when they supposedly suffered, was that World War II? They were put in concentration camps out in California and the certain states out west. They received compensation, 20,000, I believe, per family, and they received an apology. Yep. Now, what about the so-called Negro? What about the so-called North American Indian, whose land this is? Where's his reparations? Yeah. Where's his apology? Yep. You know?
It's because they're Israelites. That's the bottom line. It's because they're Israelites. You had the famous what is that?
Dred Scott case.
There you go. Yeah, I was trying to remember the case. You know, Dred Scott versus whoever it was. He was trying to get the 40 acres and his 2 mules, and they denied him. You know.
Yeah, because they said he was a servant. He was a slave.
Right. So they said that
you can't sue your master.
Right. So, you know, so basically they just show you that what they feel about you. But anybody else on the planet, they get their reparations, they get their apologies. But the Israelites don't. You don't have the right to. That's why we're gonna fuck you goddamn crackers up. You know, we're gonna tear your ass limb from limb. Yep. And we're gonna get our just due, man.
Our pound of flesh.
Our pound of flesh.
Wait a minute. You guys are going off. Ricard, the GOCC, said they're just going to be employees in the kingdom. They're going to work. They're going to come in with Bob. Hey, Bob. Hey, John. They're going to punch a clock. You know? And maybe that's why Elder Gabar didn't want to, acknowledge me in Best Buy's a couple of weeks ago. Because I would have called him on that, man. I would have called him on that. And this man ain't going to we ain't going to have a big tower with secretaries up in there, and you're going to have crackers working in a fucking cubicle, man. That's not going to be an accountant, you know.
Oh, hell no.
You get the fuck out of here, man. You got to be out your damn mind. That's why we call you guys New World Order Israelites, man.
Yep.
Hey, but anyway, I read the scripture in Deuteronomy 28:68 about Egypt, right? Now, this is how you know that we're in the new Egypt, because of the obelisk, right? Now, I looked up the word obelisk in general. It says an obelisk from ancient Greeks. Actually, it's a Greek word. Obeliskos, diminutive of obelos, spit, nail, pointed pillar, is a tall, four-sided, narrow, tapering monument. Well, that's why in Washington you have the Washington Monument, which the Washington Monument is nothing more than an obelisk, Egyptian-style obelisk. Now, the word monument means when you look at this thing, you're supposed to remember something. How the hell are you going to remember D.C.? You're supposed to remember Egypt, because that's where that symbol goes back to. So they got their power from Egypt. From the Canaanites, from the Egyptians, from the Babylonians, from the Assyrians, from Rome, pagan Rome. That's why you have Senate in Rome. There's a tall, four-sided, narrow, tapering monument which ends in a pyramid-like shape or pyramidion at the top. These were originally called Tekhenu by the builders, the ancient Egyptians. The Greeks who saw them used the Greek obeliskos to describe them, and this word passed into Latin and then English. Ancient obelisks were often monolithic, meaning one stone. Now that take me back to the movie, was it 2001: A Space Odyssey? And the opening scene was the monolith. And all throughout the movie, they mentioned the word monolith, which, by the way, the UN building is built like the monolith. The monolith means one stone, meaning they took a great stone and they carved it into that shape. You see? That's right. Ancient obelisks were often monolithic, that is built with one single stone. Whereas most modern obelisks, like the Washington Monuments, which is nothing but an obelisk, are made of several stones. They took bricks and built the brick upon brick, and can have interior spaces. Because at one time, I believe you used to be able to climb up in there and walk in the obelisk. If my memory serves correctly, I think I went up in there, man. Walked up there to the top or whatever. It says that is built with a single stone. I'm sorry, whereas most modern obelisks are made of several stones and can have interior spaces. The term stele is generally used for other monumental, upright, inscribed, sculpted stones, like you have the Meshes stele, Moabite stone. Now, as you go down, right, it goes into ancient obelisks, which goes back to the Egyptians. I just want to scroll down because there's a lot of reading here. Okay, it says these, I scrolled down, it said these are ancient Egyptian obelisks in the following locations. Egypt, 8. It says Thutmose the first, Karnak Temple, Luxor, Pharaoh Ramesses II, Luxor Temple, Pharaoh Hatshepsut, Karnak Temple, Luxor, and it goes on and on. It mentions these different pharaohs. Then it says France. There's an obelisk, a famous obelisk in France, and it's Pharaoh Ramesses II, Luxor obelisk in Place de la Concorde, Paris. Israel, Caesarea obelisk. You know what? I'm going to click on that real quick. Yeah, and they show you a picture of this obelisk. The Caesarea obelisk is a red, I wonder why it's red, granite obelisk, 12 meters high, which was erected in the hippodrome of Herod the Great's new built city in Judea, Caesarea Maritimia. The obelisk seems to have been erected after Herod's time, and it's to commemorate Herod. So, when you go to D.C., you go to the Washington Monument, which is nothing but an Egyptian obelisk, and it's to remind you of D.C., which, if you're in the know, if you're an insider, it's to remind you of ancient Rome and ancient Egypt, because their powers come from the ancient Hamites. Like I said, the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Canaanites, all right, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, and so forth.
That's right.
So that's one obelisk in Israel. Italy, it says 13, including the only one located in Vatican City. There's a like I said, there's an obelisk in the Vatican City, in St. Peter's Square.
Yeah, which that obelisk in St. Peter's Square, if you look at it, it's surrounded by a circle.